All right. Let's see if the few people that watch that premiere come find me. Oh my goodness. No, no, no. Turn the volume off on that. I want YouTube Studio content. There's Fiona. Hello. I go live for a little bit because Mike had what they call a turnaround. And a turnaround is when you're actually no. I'm trying to fix something on the laptop. There we go. Maybe yes, no. I don't know. I think so. There we go. Oh my goodness. Hey, you know what? If they're on here, I can actually see. Hello, I can see the little dollar sign. What is custom emojis? Show your support for this overstuffed house and create a poll. What the devil's that? Doctor, what are you doing? You're going exploring again. Okay. After having thrown up in the hallway. Oh, this is an Afghan. And I'm probably keeping this one. So my back's been bothering me today. I need to get shots in my spine again. I'm starting to get ligament things. Like my hand did this all of today, and it's an issue. And it's all because I haven't gone back and gotten those pressure point, um, the pressure point shots in my back. So it's just I don't know. I've heard it called zigzag. I've heard it called chevron. And this is sideways because this way it kind of like blocks some of the pile. Though I noticed I'm on the laptop filming, and I noticed that it gives you a much wider view. Watch this. Can I get the entire? Oh no, not quite. Because there's the other side of the archway, and this piece here. This is the chimney. The chimney is actually like in the center there. They built out so that there's room for this really wide mantelpiece. So you can not quite see the whole width of the. Oh yeah, I forgot. So I forgot with filming with the laptop, blocking the voice is a pain in the butt. So what I was showing is how this is the. Here we go. This spot here is the chimney is like only in the center, but they built this weird, really wide build out because there's a really wide mantelpiece that's there that came from a house that my mother always said Sarah Wetherell said it was Quackertown. Yes, I said Quacker. I think she misheard her and Sarah Wetherell and I think my mother heard her say Quakertown, which would make sense because was a Quaker, and I believe out there is where there's a farm. Because the family had told me, the Wetherell family told me that she had retired and gone out to a farm, the family farm. So I'm guessing that's Quakertown. It's cold in here, so I have my hat on. Hello, Willow. So let me see. Okay, Iris Iris will be on tomorrow night. So she put the link in, and Doug has made it here. Paula. Tammy's here. Oh, it just jumped again. Oh, wow. A super chat. Thank you, Doug. Oh, yeah. My iced coffees. It's the only coffee I drink. Usually I'm drinking tea. You know, Doug, it's funny. It's like That super chat's like always on there, and you're the first super chat I've had since the first night those super chats were live. There, that's a little better. Hopefully that didn't mess up the sound too much. Willow Owlseer. Willow is such a cool name. Now this thing keeps jumping. Let me see who's back up and see who's here. And I know Fiona was here, and Tammy from Tidbits and Treasures. Melanie, yay. Tia Fane's back. Paula's back. Linda's back from Michigan. There we go. Oh my goodness. So she's just climbing the pile. I don't think she's gotten fat. I don't think she could fit in the watering can anymore. So oh, in here or that room upstairs. This room is fantastic. I've actually had rehearsals here when it was empty. Um when what well all my life, all through my teen years, all through my 20s, all through my 30s, all through my 40s. Um but yeah, this it's very long. It's not quite the length of the house. There's still a whole other porch that way. So from where I'm sitting, there's probably another, well, that room's 10, that room's 9 by 9. So I think from where I'm sitting, there's another 14 feet that you can't see past me. That's a porch, a built-in. It's a built-in. We always called it the wood porch because that's where we used to store the wood for the winter. So, oh yeah, I tried buying a cheap thing that was the earbuds and the microphone, and that didn't work. That ended up being all staticky and weird, and I don't know, we all know Nancy's technology challenged in the many ways that you can be. So that didn't work for a microphone. And I just don't know what to get. So if anybody has a decent microphone that can plug in to the USB, um, email me and tell me what to buy. And if I can afford it, I will. I'll try. But wow, yeah. Yeah, I was trying to get a microphone. I was trying to get, because the problem isn't necessarily needing the earpiece to hear anything. I guess unless I have a guest on, I might need it for that. But it's to have the microphone, because whatever microphone's on this HP laptop, it's crap. It's just crap. You guys, half the time, if I move it or have even a piece of paper was in the way one night, and you guys couldn't hear me because of a piece of paper. I could do that on my phone, picks me up, but apparently the laptop has really, really, really crappy microphone. Yeah, I saw that, Melanie. You had a lot of stuff. Hey, all in the attic treasures is here. You had a lot of stuff ready for that yard sale. I can't do yard sales here. Nobody comes because I'm on the edge of Chester. And in this county, oh heavens, Chester, they act like there's a drug dealer behind every tree. I'm not downtown, for heaven's sakes. This whole area is big houses, most of them not quite as big as mine, but most of them are old twins, not like that ugly brick one next door. So But because it's Chester, nobody wants to come. Nobody wants to come in here. I even advertised having a $1 sale where everything was a dollar. I had 4 or 5 people, 5 show up. The last one, the 5th one, was some kid on a bicycle who bought one of the biggest things, which was this great big museum poster from some exhibition in the frame. I didn't care. I got what I wanted. I got this wonderful silk embroidered thing from a local auction for my bedroom, for me, and all of it together for both pieces. It only cost me like 12 or 15 $15 at the local auction to get the 2 of them. I got the one I wanted. I got a beautiful upgrade for my bedroom that made me very happy. And the other one, I didn't care. And he hooks it over his arm with the wire going over the arm, and then he's kind of holding it that way like this and trying to ride off on a bicycle. Thank goodness it wasn't a windy day. It would have blown him right over. Daniel has a good microphone, like Tacky Daniel. I'll have to message him and see. Yeah, it depends on where you live. Some places, if it's an apartment kind of thing, complex won't allow it. There are HOAs won't allow them. It depends on where you live. You can get away with yard sale. Not every place will let you. But a remote camera with a mic. The only other camera I have is the cell phone. That's all I've got. I need to learn, but I just don't have a clue. Thank you, Doug. I'll look for that. Um, at least the rain has slowed down and Mike's home now, so I don't have to go running upstairs to empty a bucket right away. Hopefully, I have to look at the radar. I think the rain might stop. We just had this pocket like hanging over. We had this pocket of rain just hanging right over us, and it just was causing a mess. Nova knocks off Michigan to advance to Elite Eight. Oh, that's Villanova University. Well, apparently they're going to something for basketball. So, but Mike's home. He doesn't always tell me when he's working, and I assumed he was working third again tonight. Turns out he had a turnaround, which is he worked third shift last night and then had to be back in by 2 this afternoon and work until 10. So, oh, great. Tonight will be 48 degrees. I need to check that heating oil. Breezy and partly sunny tomorrow. Yes. Cooler with scattered showers. Oh, we're going back down into the 40s during the day. Oh, and the rain is almost out of here, according to the radar. So that explains the drizzling I can still hear. So it'll that means I can actually get some decent sleep tonight. Oh my goodness. And the cat is better, at least. She was I posted a picture on Instagram. She really felt so badly. She was tied to my side practically all of yesterday. She kept pestering to go upstairs. You get upstairs, she goes right into Michael's room, hops up on the bed, lays down, and just looks at me. And I'm like, oh, okay. She just wanted me to hold her, but she didn't like that because then she'd start wiggling. It seemed to be bothering her. And I realized then that her feet were warm, her nose was dry. That's a sign that a cat's sick. It's the only way they show a fever is through the paws. And she really didn't feel good. She laid next to me while I watched 3-hour video of a TV show called Sanctuary. And that cat, just as soon as I propped myself up on Michael's pillow, so I was kind of like half sitting up but half laying there, and I had one arm out like this, and she just climbed right up into the armpit and just laid her head on my arm and went to sleep for 2.5 hours. She never moved. And then, of course, I didn't move because I didn't want to wake her up. Good night, Melanie. Yeah, the only problem with this goofy flipping weather back and forth is the heating oil, and now the price is like gone crazy. Just like, well, the gas, I can't say that the gas has gone crazy because while it's over $4, just over it around here, I remember past years when it was over $5 a gallon. So I'm not gonna say anything about anything it's under 5. You know? Oh, you lost your cat? Oh, poor Tifa. It's hard. The doctors the doctors gained a lot of weight since Gandalf had to be put down. She doesn't like being an only cat, but she will not tolerate female cats, and that's an issue. Um, but she seems to have really had a bad effect from this cheap cat food. I only bought one can to try it, and I'm not getting it again because it just seems like it made her sick. She just um she ate it, and I gave her half a can and she ate it, but then a couple hours later was when well, first off, an hour later she threw it all back up, and then after that she just was draggy and not feeling good and fussing, and then by yesterday afternoon she just wanted me constantly. So, oh, Kelly, hi. But had the week from Hades? Oh, yeah. I know what those are like. I do know what those are like. Oh, your light bill is $10 more. You know, I don't even want to talk about how much I owe Pico. They haven't gotten paid in a long while. It's not good. They haven't turned the electric off though. Bless their hearts. But yeah, I owe them a lot of money. So that was supposed to be the goal. Get all the bills paid down, some bills paid off. And then that roof just decided that the only thing I could think of for that roof is that somewhere where the leak got in and then it froze. We had a couple of flash freezes, which when it drops too fast can cause oh shoot, there's a term. There's a term for it. Frost heave. So frost heave is literally there'll be moisture underneath a rock or underneath a log or underneath something, and it freezes so fast that it actually lifts that thing up. Now, if that happened to a leak in the roof, it's gonna push the wood underneath or where the hole is that has the leak. It's gonna push that up further and make the hole bigger. And then, of course, when it melts, then you are left with a bigger hole. And so we are kind of wondering if um we're kind of wondering if that's what had happened, but we can't. Mike's been out on that roof more than once. He can't find the hole that's causing it. And it's so bad now that if you get anything more than a light drizzle, there's a steady stream coming down the plastic. Um, there's a picture on my Instagram that shows the hole and it shows the plastic that we stapled to well, Mike stapled to the ceiling around it. And it's just it's just crazy. And it just is a steady little stream that just comes right down that plastic into the bucket, which is why it's every. We don't know where to put the tarp. We thought about putting a tarp on the roof, but we can't figure out where. And all of the water from, so the main part of the house, the picture from my thumbnail shows you the house from 1911 before the addition was put on the back. So there's that long roof this way. But then behind that, there's a roof piece that goes this way. Now, that means that there's a peak here and a peak here. And those both go into this little flat spot that's 3 feet square. But there's also a peak this way from the 1935 edition. All of that comes right to that flat spot. So we tried putting somewhat of a tarp on the flat spot, thinking that was part of it, and let some, at least part of, because there's an overhang on the part of the 1935 roof, and have some of that go onto the tarp and then have the whole thing just kind of like funnel down to the roof below to the gutters. It didn't do anything. It didn't do anything to stop the volume of water that was coming in. So that begged the question then of where the devil is the leak itself. And we haven't been able to figure that out. It also is, I think it's more than one leak, because there's been a leak at that spot my entire life, and there's been 2 brand new roofs put on the house in my lifetime, and that leak's never completely stopped. But this is the worst I've ever seen it. And it all has, now there's the big spot with the hole, but there's a leak a little further over as well now. And so I don't know. There's got to be somewhere else, because there's water coming in from somewhere else. And it's coming in so badly that the one night when it really was super bad rain, the water actually came down the hallway wall over here. So I was going to replace that wallpaper anyway, but at some point, not now. Wasn't planning on doing it now. Oh, so hey. Oh, hey, Heartland Picker. I don't mind. I'll share your sales, hon, anytime you have them. Heartland Picker has a cool channel, and Brandon has great jewelry sales. And let me find your channel again, and I will drop a link. I still cannot believe, Brandon, that you only have 366 subscribers. This guy should have more than this. Okay. There's the link. Oh. See, I know Iris has found him, and I know Fiona's found him. Brandon knows his stuff. He really knows his stuff about jewelry. And I see it says you only have 366 subscribers. No. You need to have more than that. And Iris, I don't know how many you have now, Iris. I'm still, Brandon, I love the image you have for your banner, because you have all those awesome floral pins on a piece of material. That is such a cool banner picture. Iris? There we go. There's Iris. Mystery package opening sports cards. Is that you? There's two Iris Collins up. Iris, you're the one with the sports cards, right? Copy. Well, that's because we know you, Iris. Here, we'll put yours in too. There you go. There's Iris's. Oh, you got it up the same time I did. Yeah, content is a big deal, Iris. Content is a big deal. And that makes the more content you can get up, the fact is then that um it will it gives YouTube something to promote. Um, I know for Brandon, a lot of his content is sales that he's done. He doesn't really do like haul videos, but um, there's a couple from an antique booth. I think his first one was a haul video, but a lot of his videos are sales, so you can see what he's got. And the fun of watching sales is like Trisha taught me this. She's always do a recap at the end of what didn't sell, because there are people that will just fast forward to the end to see if there's something that didn't sell that they would like, and then they email you. Yes, he used to be Lego Man of the Midwest. That was Brandon originally. Lego Man of the Midwest, and then he changed. You're in college now, Brandon. You're not going to have time to do haul videos till summer. You're okay. You're okay. Well, I think he's been into jewelry for a long while though, and I think that was why Brandon changed the name though, is because it just it helped draw. I think it'll help draw too more of the reselling crowd with Heartland Picker, because by having Picker in the title, or Thrifter, to some extent Junker, it certainly helps, because the Picker and Thrifter and Reseller, those are all kind of tag words we all kind of look for. So Happy Days has lots of playlists. So, but yeah, that was a hard video to put up, what I did earlier, and when I saw Lego Man of the Midwest, I did not think of age. I thought of toys. I definitely thought of toys. One thing that has annoyed my son is that I will not let him throw away any of the Lego worksheets. You know how it always comes with a booklet telling you how to put things together? Because when we finally get to where we get to the stuff of Legos, that means I can piece some of the sets together and then just sell them that way as the set if they're small. I am not dealing with anything too big. I know I don't have anything to be ashamed of, but it's just, it is real life, and it is not being willing to just throw everything in a dumpster. I just can't see that. I think some of it comes from um having grown up with people who were adults during the Great Depression. My own mother was born in 1929. Um and they went through, well, Annie Al was born in 1900, so she'd been through two world wars in her lifetime. And they always wanted to repurpose, reuse. Everything was all about, using it or repurposing it as much as you could. And you didn't just throw something out just to throw it out. And I understand that to some point. And I understand that there was a lot of stuff that just got thrown away because it just wasn't, the condition it was in. And I had saved every single thing. But what's here is when you have a house that's so stuffed, you find some good stuff and you find it and it's good stuff. Well, then you do what you can to get it to where it could go. An awful lot of stuff went to Goodwill, an awful lot of stuff went to flea markets. And then what happens? 2020 hit and flea markets were done. I had a set routine. It would go on eBay, and then if it didn't make it, I'd run an eBay thing. It would get listed twice as an auction, and if it didn't go, then it got a sticker put on it. It went into the box for a flea market. That was the routine. That was the revolving routine. That's what you had. And books, if it didn't sell, it went into a box that sat in the hallway. Once the row of boxes of books was done out of the hallway, but there was always a box that it went into that. And then when that box was full, it went to one of the local libraries for them to sell. Just it always kept moving. And it just feels like when 2020 hit, stuff stopped moving. And with getting the last of the storage unit in here, it still was just like you're just shifting minute amounts. There's never any one big area you feel like you got cleared out, and it just gets so demoralizing sometimes. So good night, Willow, and thank you. Yep, you have a good night too, Doug. I thought of you, so I'm wearing that hat. That and it's cold. So my heat's not turned up. Ah, but it's I am living proof that you can get through it. It's just some days it's just rough. I've had so much other stuff. Oh yeah, it's happy days. Oh yeah. That's where my mother did all of the cutting of her fabrics, was on the dining room table. There is a Civil War era dining room table in there. It is massive. And when I can get back in there again, we got in there when they put the heaters in because they had to get to all the radiators. But that front hallway's become a catch-all again, and I can't get in there again. And that's where all the fabric is that everybody's going, "Oh, you have fabric?" Yeah, but I can't get to any of it. Oh, yeah. See, that's the problem, Iris, is that you bring something in and you intend to use it, and then your house eats it. Is that's what we refer to it around here. The house ate it, uh, or it ends up piled under stuff. And a lot of stuff ends up being deferred action. This is all mail. Some of it just got, put aside. I'm not going to deal with it right now. From when I couldn't, like, one-handed. So I couldn't sit up the first few months. I would go to physical therapy, come home and lay flat. I spent a lot of time holding up magazines, holding up lightweight books, watching stuff on my phone, because those first 3 months of therapy. I mean, you guys saw the jewelry videos I did. I was laying flat on my back, holding stuff up like this, and the camera was here laying on the pillow, and I couldn't do anything. So my mail just got shoved into there. So I still haven't completely winnowed through all of that. So I know there's duplicate bills that didn't get paid when they first got here, that now I could get rid of the old one. That's why that's sitting there, is because it was something I needed to get done. And it's all this deferred action is what's happened, is there's deferred action has ended up filling up some space. It's ended up filling up that. It's ended up filling up some of my desk, and I understand that, is that that's some of what I'm digging out from since mid-December, the end of December, when that spine issue, the nerve that was causing the most problems let go. Then I could actually function better. Out I'm still digging out from under that. And I recognize the fact that a lot of that, like that bin, was all just deferred actions. I didn't I didn't get to it, and then I kept doing other stuff. And that's where you run into trouble when you have so much stuff, is that you are bouncing around. Well, I got to do this, and I got to do this, and I got to do this, and then I got to do this. Meanwhile, the stuff you started with over here is now, oh, well, I got to add this to that pile, and then I got to get to it at some point. And you end up deferring it. And that's the hardest problem when you have this much stuff. And I know for some of you, I'm preaching to the choir. I totally get that. And I have made a point, though, so far, I've managed to keep it 90% of the time, that when I first get up in the morning, I come down and I have pills. Feel like my grandmother with the lazy Susan full of pills. There's stuff for my spine that I have to take every day. There's stuff for my arthritis I have to take every day. Can't take them both together. So, and then there's the naproxen for my spine that I have to take with food, but I can't take that with either one of the other two pills. So when I get up, the first thing I've got to do is start this regimen of pills. Certain ones I can take without stuff, but the last one on that list, the naproxen, I have to take with food or it's going to tear my system up. So I start my day where the first thing I can have is a cup of tea, and then I set my alarm, and I spend that first half an hour just dealing with all this little bits of paperwork. You should have seen the pile that was on the kitchen table. There was a whole stack of magazines on the end of the staircase up against the banister. I've spent every morning that first half hour, I just sit there reading magazines. I've also got a stack of magazines in my own bedroom that's 3 feet high. But these are all the newer ones that came in while I was sick. I now have that pile down to this, because there were so many because I have a bunch of freebies that come. But that's my morning, and I'm determined, and I'm going to keep that up, and I'm going to winnow down every magazine in this house and figure out where it's going to go. Some of the vintage magazines I can resell, but some of the more modern ones, read them, look at them, get them right into that recycling bin. Every single day I do this, and it's been great. It has helped it has helped winnow down that pile. And I'm going to keep doing it till I get them all dealt with. So there's the first thing to do, is find time in your day that's literally just one project, one thing, to get rid of anything that's a deferred action. If I get rid of these magazines, I'm going to clear up space just in the kitchen. Um, there were 3 piles of them on the kitchen table. I don't have a kitchen table. I want my kitchen table back. So now there's 1 pile left. That's what I do. I have other points in the day, like when I'm eating lunch, I'm usually right here. So I'm dealing when I'm eating lunch is when I deal with by then the mail has come for the day. And that's when I go through whatever mail came in that day and some of this stuff, some of this superfluous extra stuff every single day while I'm eating lunch. So that way I'm getting caught up on all of that and I'm dealing with whatever came in that day in the mail that day. So it doesn't get built up. It may seem like it's such a little thing when there's so much. And I realize that that's what's messing me up is that I think, oh, that's just a little thing and I can wait. And then I end up with 3 piles of magazines a foot high on my kitchen table. Don't wait. Don't wait. Find some time in your day where it's time you're just going to be sitting still or doing something anyway, just something as simple as having breakfast or having that cup of tea or having lunch, and carve out 30 minutes that while you're doing this one thing, you're going through this other little thing. And if you feel you can then expand that to an hour, fantastic. Set yourself a timer though. Set yourself a timer because when you end up spending an entire day on it, then you start feeling bad because you didn't get these other things done that you had planned on doing. That was really messing me up. That really was. I found that that just frustrated me more and made me even more backlogged. So I'm offering you what I've learned. And I've only finally figured this out when I had to slow down because my spine would not let me move as fast as I used to. It wouldn't let me lift as much as I used to. Can't even bend over and pick stuff up off the floor without hurting. That's still an issue. Um, so I started having to be much more self aware once I finally got to where I could move again without wincing every single move, and that wasn't until the end of December. So I've been hyper aware of what I'm doing ever since the end of December. And so I've been paying attention more to what is frustrating me. How do I work around it? And it is vitally important that when you are doing some little task, set a time limit for yourself and use that clock and alarm on your phone. Use that timer function on your phone because otherwise it's going to bog you down. I only let myself have those little half hours, at most an hour, to do those 2 little tasks. And it's really helped move stuff along. And it has stopped me from deferring decisions, especially on mail. You know, that junk mail's not sitting around, it's gone. It's either in the trash or some days I will open it up and I'll take the part out you can recycle. I'll throw that in the recycling. And then the envelope, anything with that little clear plastic window can't be recycled because of the plastic window. So I'll throw them in the trash and the rest in the recycling. Other times I just go, yeah, no, rip it in half, chuck it in the trash bin. So depends on what I'm feeling that day, but I'm dealing with it that day. I'm not letting it pile up anymore. And while it's a little thing, it's a start. It's a start. And I figure it's a good habit to get in. I've also started taking care of my mental health. I give myself, before I go to bed, I give myself 30 minutes to read. Because I got a lot of books in this house to read. And I realized, other than when I was flat on my back, I had realized then that I've really been so focused on doing the channel, getting the channel going, getting more stuff out of here, going through stuff, that I lost what was one of my biggest stress relievers, time to read, to get my head out of my own head, as it were. Some of you will get that. And that was something that was a big stress reliever for me, was to read. And I realized that for a year I hadn't until life gave me a pinched nerve and I had plenty of time to read, but I couldn't lift anything too heavy, even laying flat, because you don't want a hardback when you're like this. You're not reading Gone with the Wind at that point. That's a big, heavy book. So I read a lot of paperbacks. I got a lot of them out of the house. And I realized, though, that I got so much enjoyment out of being able to read again, having the time to read again, that I needed to make time. And I sleep better now. I used to go to bed and I'd wake up an hour later and my neck would be tense, my teeth would be grinding. And I read for half an hour before I go to sleep. And the temptation, though, is always, as any reader will tell you, temptation is to just keep going. And some nights it's really hard to put that book down after half an hour. But I'm trying to make sure I do that. I just remind myself how exhausted I was when the last Harry Potter book came out. And we were supposedly getting these for Michael. I was the one that was reading them. I read that entire thing. It's this thick. I read non-stop through the entire night. We picked up the book after dinner. I started reading it about 9 o'clock that night and finished it. I think I finished it about 10 o'clock the next morning. I had read all night. I'm not going to do that to myself again. That'll stop you in your tracks sometimes from getting anything else done. So the only time I read to my heart's content like that is summer camp. I can read all morning because all the boys are out of camp, and yeah. But it's hard. You got to find pacing, and you've got to find ways to, you know, stop yourself from spending too long on one spot, unless that was your plan for the day. So yeah, it depends on the book for me. Right now, um, I'm reading a book on Hildegard of Bingen, an early Christian nun and mystic, and another one by Michael Fox, which is about prayer. Those are easy to put down. I mean, they're good reads, but those are easy to put down after half an hour. Let me start reading the Harry Potter series over again, or Lord of the Rings, any of the Cat Who books, from Lillian Jackson Braun. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, bookworms, all of us. Absolutely. Absolutely. The majority of my book collection is in the attic in boxes because I ran out of shelves to put it on. And as I would read what was on the shelves, when I had space, I'd get another box down out of the attic and I'd fill up the shelf again. So I only had one bookcase in my bedroom at that time that had the room for books. And oh, I have a whole playlist on my private on my personal YouTube account that is audiobooks, Jen. Because not everything I read has audiobooks. I have a lot of books um from pre 1950. I have a lot of Neville Shute. I have a lot of 1800s books. They don't have audiobooks for a lot of these. But when I found things that have audiobooks, I have some of them I have gotten rid of after I've listened to the audiobook instead. I had some Dr. Wayne Dyer books and I hadn't gotten around to reading them, but I found all but one of them, an early one of his. with him doing the audiobook, which was awesome. Theophane, yeah, I have gone through boxes of books where I took a look at it going, am I really going to read this? Because when I got it, it wasn't really, it might have been a topic I wanted to read about, but it isn't now. So yeah, I purged a lot that way. I did that before the inherited book collection came in. Like when I had to move stuff back in, I purged a lot then, but a lot of stuff now that I read, if I read it, I look at it now as, am I really going to read this again? No? Well, then into the box to leave. Am I going to need this for anything at all with scouts? No? Okay, well, then again, this goes in the box to read. Is there a scout that might like to read this? Oh, I've done that a couple of times, and I've handed them books. Hey, you want this? I have to agree, Iris. There are some book. There are. It's one. There are some. I do pay attention to the audiobooks. When I'm listening to them most is if I'm driving or if I'm out in the yard doing something, because that's mindless. Raking leaves is mindless work. So. The hard part is when you have so many books and you realize that you find out you have two copies of the same book. It's just one happens to be hardback and the other is paperback. And the buggers switched what the cover looked like. So you didn't realize you had two of them. I hate that. Good night, Paula. I'm going to go too. It is almost an hour that I've been live, and we had the premiere. And I need to go get something to eat. And I think tonight I'm going to need the muscle relaxer. And I know once I take that, I'm going to be ready to fall asleep within half an hour. Uh, you've gotten 3 different books that way, Iris? Oh, 2 paperback copies of the same book. I found 2 that way because whose book was it? They had changed the cover art so drastically that I hadn't realized I had 2 paperback copies of the book. And I know one of them, the original book was from the 60s, 1960s. And then they put a whole new artwork and everything on the book. And I think it was I'm pretty sure it's a Piers Anthony book. When that's happened, it's usually been some sci-fi thing from the early 60s. And oh yeah, I do that all the time, Iris. I'll sell the one in good condition and then keep the one that's not in good condition. So good night. I see quite a few people getting ready to go. And you guys have a good night. And I'm going to go too. And if anybody is looking for another live to go to, Mid-Century Wasted is having her birthday live show. If you want to go to that. Here we go. Let's turn that volume off. Well, that didn't quite type right, but here we go. If I sign off, if you want to go to another live, you could go see Mid-Century Wasted. Nightmare Treasures has a live too. All right. Who else is live? Whoops. I need to refresh because I'm sure that's over by now. Nightmare Treasures is still live. The Pink Elephant Parlor, this says, is live. And Rehomer is live as well. So there's still quite a few going on if you guys want to go find other lives. So I will try to have a video up on Monday or Tuesday. And next week will be another live sale as usual. I have no idea what, but wait a minute. I'll give you a sneak peek of something. So this will be in next week's live. That's a pretty piece of art glass. Now, I don't remember who it is. It's really hard to see the signature on this sucker, but it is signed, and the guy is still doing glass, except now he's in Lowell, Vermont, and this piece is marked Bahamas. So this is one of his earlier pieces, but pretty little thing. So that will be next week's sale, and I have to ID this one. Nice pink glass bowl, and I never checked it to find out if it glowed. Bummer, it doesn't glow. But I have to ID this one and ID the pattern that's in here. But these two pieces of glass will be up for sale next week. Nightmare who? Oh, it's Night Treasures. Nightmare's Treasures. I think Iris dropped the link. Because that's where she's going to go. Iris is going to be live on their show tomorrow, I think she said. But y'all have a good night. Thank you for the thumbs up. And I'll see you guys next week. And maybe in a few chats in the next week. But I'll have a live sale next week and we'll have some fun. And have a great weekend. And hopefully the South won't have any more tornadoes this weekend. We're supposed to have more rain coming through up here on Saturday. Stay safe, everybody. Good night.